S.Sathwik Uday Kiran. I am pursuing secondary CSCD in VVIT. In this video, I want to explain about the introduction to ER model. Without any further delay, let's get started. About ER model, as you can see here, I have provided some points. Let's see them. Entity relationship is called ER model and it is a high level model. This model is used to define the data elements and relationship between a specified system. It develops a conceptual design for the database. It develops a very simple and easy to design view of data. In ER modeling, the database structure is portrayed as a diagram called an entity relationship diagram. So yeah, these are some key points. Generally, an ER model is a conceptual view. I can say that it is an equipment which is used to display the data and understand the data easy and simple to understand the data with the help of ER model. So this is what is an ER model. Now let's move to the next one. As you can see here, an example is provided. In this example, the student is I can explain what are these things. First, it gives an clear view about what a student can contain. As you can see here, the student can contain data like name, address, ID and age. So this is how an ER model works. Let's understand the components in the ER. As you can see here, the components of ER diagram. First one, entity, weak entity, attribute. I will explain later clearly about each and everything. First, let's see what are the key components available. Attribute, key attribute, composite attribute, multi-valued attribute, derived attribute, relation, one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-one and many-to-many. So let's understand them in one by one. First one, entity. An entity may be an object, class or person or place. In the ER diagram, an entity can be represented as rectangles, which means an entity which can contain some attributes. I can explain later attributes. Some properties, like for example, if I am a student, then I have the roll number, name, class, section, like this. So these are the properties available for an entity called student. So this is how it works. The entity can be represented with the help of rectangles. As you can see here, employee and department are two entities. Works for is a relation, I can explain later. First, understand this. The employee and the department are two entities which have some properties. Let's move to the next one. Weak entity. An entity that depends on another entity called a weak entity. A weak entity does not contain any key attribute of its own. The weak entity is represented by a double rectangle. As you can know the meaning of entity, right? Now let's see. In order to explain a weak entity, first I would like to explain about what is an attribute. Let's see this. Attribute. The attribute is used to describe the property of an entity. For example, ID, age, contact number, name, etc. can be attributes of a student. As I mentioned before, here the student is an entity and it contains attributes like ID, phone number, name and age. Now let's understand the weak entity. As you can see here, every entity can contain, not every entity, but an entity which contains a key attribute is called normal entity, and an entity which depends upon another, which doesn't contain any key attribute and depends upon another thing is called a weak entity. As you can see here, the loan and installment both are entities, but the installment doesn't contain any key attribute, where key attribute is an unique value represented for an entity. So this is about what is a weak entity. I had explained about what is an attribute. Let's move to the next one. Key attribute. The key attribute is used to represent the main characteristic of an entity. It represents a primary key. The key attribute is represented by an oval shape with the text underlined. As I mentioned before, the key attribute is the attribute which is unique to that particular entity, which means if an entity has some properties, but in that some properties there is an unique value called primary key attribute. So a primary key attribute is nothing but a unique ID which represents a unique value. As you can see here, the example student, phone number, name, age and ID. Phone number must be suppose if they are twins, their phone numbers must be same in the student. Okay, age is same for many students in the same class. Sometimes names are also same in the same class, but ID is not same for everyone. So id is an key attribute for this example. So this is about key attribute. Let's move to the next one. Composite attribute. An attribute that composed of many other attributes is known as a composite attribute, which means, first suppose an attribute contains multiple number of attributes is called an composite attribute. As you can see in the example, the name is an attribute for an entity student. Else assume that for the name there are different types of attributes. See, first name, middle name and the last name. So the name is a single attribute and it contains three attributes: first name, middle name, last name. So the name is a composite attribute. So this is composite attribute. Now let's see the next one. Multi-valued attribute. An attribute can have more than one value. These attributes are known as multi-valued attribute. The double over is used to represent the multi-valued attribute. As you can see here, phone numbers we have, phone numbers are more than one. So an entity which contains more than one values are called multi-valued attribute, and these are represented by using double circle over. As you can see here, the phone number, if a person have more than one number, so phone number is a multi-valued attribute for particular entities. So this is about what is a multi-valued attribute. Now let's see the next one. Relationship. A relationship is to describe the relation between entities. Diamond shape is used to represent the relationship. There are two types. One is strong relation and second is weak relation. Strong relationship represented by a single diamond, where weak relationship represented by double diamond. A relationship, which means it is a describe the relation between, first suppose if we have student and college. So student and teacher, both are two entities which are a teacher and a student. The relationship between them is class. So the class tells the relationship between the student and teacher. So this is how the relationship works. In order to represent the relationship between any two attributes with the help of diamond shape, it can be done. In this relationship we have two types. One is a strong relation and the other one is weak relation. A strong relation is represented by a single diamond, and a weak relationship is implemented by using a double diamond. Let's see how the relations work. Let's first of all see the types of relationship. The first one is one-to-one relationship. As you can see here, the definition: when only one instance of an entity is associated with the relationship, then it is known as one-to-one relationship. Which means only one attribute in one entity, another attribute in one entity comes under relation is called a one-to-one relationship. With the example you can understand clearly. As you can see here, for example, a female can marry to one male and a male can marry to one female. So this is how it works. This is a one-to-one relationship. A female only marries one male and male marries only one female. So this is how the relationship, one-to-one relationship works. Let's move to the next relationship. One-to-many relationship. When only one instance of an entity on the left and more than one instance of the right associated with the relationship, then it is known as one-to-many relationship. As you can see here, with the example I can explain clearly. Scientists can invent many inventions, but the invention is done by the only specific scientist. Which means a scientist can, as you can see the example here, a scientist can invent many inventions, but the inventions are invented by only one scientist. This is how one-to-many relationships work. Here this one is scientist and many are inventions. One scientist invents many inventions. So this is how one-to-many relationship works. Let's move to the next relationship. Many-to-one relationship. When more than one instance of an entity to the left and only one instance of an entity to the right associates with the relationship, then it is known as many-to-one relationship. Which means, as you can see in the example here, student enroll course. Many students enroll to a single course. So this is how many-to-one relationship works. Which means many students enroll to one course. So many to one. So this is how the many-to-one relationship works. Next one, last one, many to many relationship. When more than one instance of an entity is associated with the more than one instance of another entity is called many to many relationship. As I think you all understand. For example, employee can assign by many projects and projects can have more employees, which means an employee the example provided here which gives employee can work in many projects and the projects have many employees. So this is how the many to many relationship works. This is all about introduction to the ER modeling, the basic concepts and different types of relations and the attributes and the components used in this. What is an entity, what is attribute. So far this is an introduction to ER modeling. Yeah, this is it for this video. Thanks for listening. Thank you.